I've had RSI for about 8 or 9 months now. It started when I broke my ankle last year playing soccer, and I couldn't do anything besides being in front of a computer all day. If you don't know what RSI is, it stands for repetitive strain injury. It's something that you get usually in your forearms or your elbow when you do a repetitive motion too much. In the case of a computer, you're probably clicking or typing too much. It started probably because I had really bad ergonomics when I first started working after I broke my ankle. After I started getting pain, I realized my mistake and bought a nice setup. But even with good ergonomics, my forearms still hurt when I work too much. This is really frustrating because I already spend way too much time in front of a screen for my 9 to 5. And I'm also trying to work on these personal projects, which also I need to be on the computer for. I looked all over the internet, and someone on Reddit actually suggested that I can set a timer to remind me to take a break every 20 minutes. I thought this was a really good idea, but the one issue is I don't want to manually pull up a timer every time I start working. That's where my idea came in. I want to build a very simple timer that runs in the background as you're working and pops up every 20 minutes to remind you to go walk around and stretch. I don't have any macOS experience. This is my very first Swift app. I learned the very basics in a YouTube tutorial, and I'm relying very heavily on ChatGPT to get me there. I started building this already a couple weeks ago, and I'll show you what I have so far. Right now I have like the very bare bone functionalities. The main access point of this app is going to be in the menu bar. This is a timer right here. There's 4 minutes left. You can resume and it'll keep counting down. And then when the break starts at the end of the 20 minutes, you get this screen that reminds you to look away and you're not able to work on anything else on your computer. You can also click here to skip if you really want to. And I need to get rid of this window because this is unnecessary. And you can see the timer here restarts again. I'm trying to remove the window that pops up whenever you initiate the app because I want the controls of the app to just be in the menu bar alone. I want to keep it super simple. So I'm trying to figure that out in ChatGPT. ChatGPT is saying that Swift UI doesn't directly support removing a window completely. You have to use this function called NSWindow to hide it. But the code that it's writing is just not working at all. There's like so many errors. I'm not really sure what's happening. I'm just gonna go to Claude first and see if Claude can write a better solution. Never mind, I'm actually just dumb. All you need to do was comment out the Windows group function. ChatGPT is kind of dumb sometimes. I think these 3 menu options are all you really need. Eventually, I want to add in a window for users to customize how long they want to work for and how long the break is. But for now, the default is a 20-minute working session with a 30-second break. Now I want to add in the feature where the timer can detect when the user has stopped working for a certain amount of time. I'm thinking if the user has left for a minute, the timer will automatically pause. And if the user has been gone for 5 minutes, the timer will automatically restart. I tried to implement this the last time I worked on this a couple weeks ago, and ChatGPT was not very helpful. I'm a little bit nervous about trying it again. We'll see how it goes. It's been a couple hours. I've only worked on this for about an hour. I took some breaks to go make dinner. I decided to scratch the idea to pause the timer after 1 minute of inactivity and just focus on resetting the timer after 5 minutes of inactivity. The reason I'm doing this is so that when the user leaves to go take a break for more than 5 minutes, it's assumed that they would want to restart the timer. And this way they don't have to manually restart the timer every time they come back to work. The logic is more complex than I originally anticipated. There's 2 types of activity monitoring in Swift. There's local activity monitor and global activity monitor. The difference is local activity monitor can only detect the activity within your app. Right now I have a local monitor to track their keyboard and mouse movement to know when they've come back from their long break. But the issue with this is my app is meant to be ran in the background, so local monitoring doesn't work properly because when you're doing activities in another browser or another app, my app cannot detect activity since it's only local. So I think one option is to do global activity monitoring, but that is more difficult to implement because you need permissions from the user in order to set global activity monitor. It's a bit of a hassle to set up, and I think it's a bit overkill for what my very basic simple app is trying to do. A workaround I have in mind right now is if the user has left for more than 5 minutes and decide to come back to work, I want my app to sort of restart so that it is in the foreground when the user initially comes back to work. That way I can just use local activity monitoring to know when they have a keyboard or mouse movement because it's within my app. So the first step I need to take is first implement the ability to track inactivity for 5 minutes and reset the timer. I'm not sure about the foreground activity, if it's possible to put my app into the foreground, but I'm gonna try and see. I am a bit frustrated because my forearms, especially on the inside, like here and here, have been hurting. I haven't really worked that much today, probably just an hour or 2 hours max, but I feel the pain kind of flaring up in my forearms, so I'm trying to take it easy and not overdo it. But it is very frustrating because I want to keep working on this and not lose my train of thought, but I also don't want to aggravate my arms even more. I ended up taking the rest of the night off yesterday and started back up today. It's been about an hour and a half. I've been chipping away at this issue of resetting the timer when the user has been inactive for more than 5 minutes. I realized there's no way to work around the global activity monitoring. If I want the timer to work properly and be able to detect when the user has come back to work, it has to detect across all the apps, not just within my own app. So that's what I went with. I told Claude what I wanted and it gave me pretty good code. I copied everything it gave me into Xcode and it's working pretty well for the most part. There is one small issue, but I'll show you what is working right now. So when you start the app, it waits for input, which is what I want. And then when you have some sort of movement, like a mouse or keyboard movement, it automatically starts the timer. Right now I have the inactivity period set to 10 seconds just for testing purposes. You can see now, after 10 seconds of not moving my mouse, it's waiting for input again. The issue with this is when you're working in another app, it's not able to detect your activity and reset the timer. It is able to detect local activity when you click on the actual timer, which indicates to me that it's probably a global activity monitoring issue. Right now, I'm going through all the code that Claude has given me and just trying to understand the logic behind all of it. My intuition is telling me that the code that Claude gave is basically almost there. It just needs maybe 1 or 2 lines somewhere. I'm really impressed with the code that Claude has given because I worked on this same problem a couple of weeks ago and the code that I gave was just not functioning at all. So I'm just working through the logic now and trying to see where the problem might be. I cannot believe that I just got this working. And my intuition was right. I just needed to add 4 more lines of code. There was just one tiny little logic error that Claude did not catch, but it's finally working. Oh my God. All right, so that was all I was able to get done this week. I've been trying to take it easy since my RSI is flaring up again, but I'm very happy that I was able to add in a core part of this product. I've been using this app myself for the past couple of weeks, and the most annoying part was that the timer kept on running after I left my computer to go do something else, and I have to restart the timer every time I come back to work. I have a lot more that I want to add to the app. My priority is to let users customize how long their working sessions are and how long their breaks are. Another idea I had was instead of the break window just showing a static picture and message, I was thinking each break we could have a stretch that is highlighted that people can do during that break that specifically helps with upper body strain. The end goal for this project is I want to create a landing page and distribute it for people to download it themselves. I think there is an audience that is willing to pay money for a product like this because there are a lot of competitors out there. But I want to do this experiment for myself and see if I can get any paying customers. There is still quite a bit of work to do before it's ready for distribution. I'm going to keep working on this over the next few weeks, and I'll be posting updates to this channel, so subscribe if you want to stay updated.